Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and this particular video, we're going to talk about something that kind of takes a blow to our childhood. Um, Before we even get that far, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse One.
Okay, no, I'm not going to sing the fucking Toys R Us lyrics. If you want to go ahead and Google them up, you can find them. Although I do have them in front of me. But yeah, Toys R Us went ahead and they filed for it wasn't Chapter 11, it was Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and they filed for that earlier this month, March 2018. And for a long time, they didn't know whether or not it was. The thing about Chapter 7 bankruptcy is that is like complete liquidation. We have nothing. There is nothing to get a hold of. Liquidation sales actually started on Friday, the 23rd. So if you're somebody who's out there who's looking at scouring the Toys R Us shelves for, I don't know, maybe some newer stock of video games or other stuff like that, might be a good place to go ahead and start up. I don't know, maybe I'll pass by to see if they have any Voltron figures for Legendary Defender. I might pick that up if it's cheap. But yeah, for many people our age, okay, and for the longest time, Toys R Us was pretty much the place where if you were a kid, you wanted to go ahead and you wanted to sit there. If there was a destination you were bugging your parents to go to, all right, aside from theme parks and other things like that, Toys R Us was probably one of the destinations, all right? Because the thing is that there was pretty much only one thing that Toys R Us did. They sold toys, all right? The company was founded all the way back in 1948. Its headquarters was in Wayne, New Jersey. And it was founded originally by Charles Lazarus. Now, that right there has its own connotations, all right? And let's see here. Its modern incarnation as Toys R Us was actually founded by Mr. Lazarus back in 1957. That's when he decided to go ahead and make it a dedicated children's furniture store and toy store. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, I will say this as a kid. All right. Okay, I will say this right now. As a poor Filipino kid, Toys R Us was not a very common destination during my childhood. All right. It was a place that I would go to. I'd pass through very oftenly when I'd be shopping around for video games during my high school years. All right. But I'd have to say that it was probably the last place I would ever want to be post Black Friday. All right.
Oh.
But the thing about it is that when you talk about things that kind of like that are like earmarks of your childhood and falling away, the fact that Toys R Us declared bankruptcy and that basically all of its 753 United States stores are going to be closing. Yeah, that's just a really, really, big reminder to myself and probably the other guys in this video that we're no longer kids and that a lot of things that we loved as kids, well, they're kind of ceasing to be, as much as that sucks. I don't want to sit there and wax poetic for the next 34 minutes and bemoan what's going on with Toys R Us because in many ways, if you're looking at it from a financial and fiscal point of view, they got exactly what was coming to them. But as somebody who's always had that as, oh yeah, that's always been a place to go where it's like you can pick up something fun, even though, that's where Lego sets started costing like $100 to $200 a piece. Just saying, it's just kind of hard to sit there and and see it go to the wayside. All right. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Floor is open.
From bikes to trains to video games. You know, this store, man. I mean, yeah, and Babies R Us is basically connected to this as well.
Yep.
They're closing their stores too. But look, Toys R Us will always have a special place in my heart. Got many Nintendo games from there. Many of them that are sitting right over there came from Toys R Us. My original Xbox I bought from Toys R Us with 3 freaking games to it: Halo, Bloodwake, and Dead or Alive 3. Oh no, 4 games, and WWF Raw, which slurps, by the way, but that's besides the point. Yeah, and I actually bought a Nintendo 64 from a freaking Toys R Us as well. It's a damn shame that this store is going the way of the dodo. Again, like the Reverend said, this was a place to go, or that you beg for of going to see toys, video games, whatever. If it was for kids, it was there. Dolls, Cabbage Patch dolls, Teddy Ruxpin, all that stuff was there. Even it could be sold out. Yeah, Christmas times. That annoying Tickle Me Elmo. No matter what it was stationed at Toys R Us, and you can get it from there. And it's just sad that it's just not going to be there anymore. Gray Mouse, what are your initial thoughts?
Well, sadly, this isn't the first time that Toys R Us has found themselves in financial issues. I think in the late 90s, I think they actually was going to file for bankruptcy, but they actually found somebody to buy them out. And I think what from a business standpoint, the CEO didn't run the company properly. They pretty much bought the brand, and kind of the management stayed the same as it was, before they ran into financial problems the first time. They didn't change anything. They didn't improve anything on their processes, and this is the result of it. Pretty much, this is a result of a CEO not knowing how to run a company, and then they have the galls and the audacity to ask for retirement and pension, $1 million, $2 million, or whatever, the golden parachute, after they ran the company into the ground. Without going into the nostalgia point of this, it's really sad that this is one of the stores that you begged mom and dad to go to on the weekend or after school. This is one of these stores that you were awarded with if you did good on your report card, or if this is one of the stores that if you did all your chores, and got your allowance, that this is where mom would take you or dad would take you to spend your allowance on, whether it be the G.I. Joe figures, or whether it be Transformers, or the greatest, excuse me, the NES, the greatest, the latest NES game. It really didn't matter. It was really, you could lose lots and lots and lots of time just going through all the aisles of toys, and you can never really decide on what toy you want to get that you used on your allowance. So yeah, Toys R Us will forever hold a special place in my heart. It actually is one of those places that actually motivated me to get good grades. It's just one of those, and where I could spend my allowance on, learn what it is to make a real dollar, not just everything handed to me. But I've had very fond memories of going in there with my family, my aunt, my grandma, my grandpa. I mean, come on, everybody who had a grandma and grandpa, when you go over to grandma and grandpa's house, hey, grandma, let's go to Toys R Us, because you'll get something. And then, of course, that'll make mom and dad mad because grandma bought you a toy and you convinced them. But that's what grandparents are for, is to spoil the kids anyway. But nonetheless, but those were this. I mean, and it's a shame to see these stores, close their doors and see those closing out of business sign, going out of business signs on the awning and stuff in the stores. I mean, yeah, like Reverend said at the top, this is this could be an advantage for us as well, because you could probably go in there and you could probably get some discounts on some toys that relatively would be expensive otherwise. Or you could go in there. I'm pretty sure that they're, since it's a Chapter 7, they're liquidating everything, meaning that you could probably go in there and get some pretty cool display cases or shelving that they're wanting to get rid of, because there's, you could probably even get those nice. And, so before they close the doors, for sure, I know in San Diego area, they are closing all three of the locations in San Diego. So I'm going to have to definitely go out to, I think there's one in Chula Vista. I'm definitely going to have to go over there and walk in the store and walk down the aisles. And, just remember, and it's really shame that it's part of running their company into the ground. Too, Amazon is king now. Let's just throw that out there. Amazon is there. eBay is there. You got all these other online sites that's been eating at their profits for years. And for another brick and mortar store to fall victim of, the internet and how easy it is. I mean, it's not just Toys R Us. You got Sears. We had a Sears catalog where you could pick toys out of the Sears catalog. Sears is going out of business. I mean, it's just seeing all these brick and mortar stores go out of business. I guess it's the modern times where Amazon is king. You can get whatever you want. You can have food delivered to your door through Amazon. And brick and mortar stores, mom and pop stores, can't compete with that. It's just the reality of the internet and how big the internet's really gotten. I mean, if you really think about it. But those are my thoughts. Although it was a little long, but I mean, yeah.
Well, if we're going to sit there and we're going to think about it, like I said, company was established in earnest all the way back before the 50s. All right. After the announcement on March 14th that every Toys R Us was filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Let's see here. They announced that all of the Toys R Us stores in the United Kingdom would close. All right. And then on the 15th, they announced that all the U.S. stores would close. All right. So if you think about that, in the U.S. alone, there's 800 stores. Worldwide, 1,758 Toys R Us stores worldwide. Just disappearing overnight, pretty much. All right. Where everything's put on liquidation. I mean, my memories of Toys R Us, like I said, if I go to the local one and I walk through the aisles, I'm expecting just to see carnage, because that's what's going to be left over. All right, is a lot of carnage. Generally speaking, like I said, it wasn't a very popular place in my household to go ahead and end up in there. So when it came to a lot of that stuff there, I know Toys R Us more from working at like EB or electronics boutique and saying, hey, look, if we don't have it here, check them out. They have, a lot of people don't think about them for video games, but the truth is that they carry a lot of shit, so always check them out to see if they have, that console, that accessory, that game that you're looking for. They're always just around the corner. All right. And that was one of the things that we were always able to sit there and say, yeah. And then the internet came along, and, online shopping came along, and that, that has changed the industry and the market a lot. There are still a lot of mom and pop, brick and mortar stores that'll sit there and persist, but mostly because there's a niche that they happen to fill locally that isn't filled by anything else. The thing with a lot of these huge chains, though, is that the problem is that if one store fails, that means that all the other stores that around it have to do that much better in order to keep it open.
Mm-hmm.
When you have everything go ahead and just kind of fall down the drain on a large basis like it is with Toys R Us, it's just really hard to sit there and see them ending up any other place in Chapter 7 bankruptcy, even given as big as they are, or as big as they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's here's the thing. I think with the closing of Toys R Us all over the place, I think its impact on each and every individual person is going to be a little bit different. All right. A lot of stuff that Gray Mouse was mentioning off the top when he was talking about it, guess what? I couldn't stop but think that didn't apply to me at all during my childhood, because guess what? It didn't apply to me at all during my childhood. All right. I didn't start shopping in Toys R Us until I got my first fucking job outside of high school. Okay, tell you the truth. All right. But they were always a mainstay when I was working retail, you know, and I was working either at EB or whatever electronics place that I was working at. They were always a mainstay as, hey, look, if we don't have it here, check there. All right, they have a lot of shit. Okay, so even if it's like, the funny thing is that even when it's high end video and audio equipment, guess what? If it falls in line as something to go ahead and hook up a video game system, that shit that they would carry. All right, so you could readily go ahead and turn anybody that direction. I think it's one of the things that, unfortunately, as a middle-aged guy, when I sit down, I turn around, I look, I wake up in the morning, I go, damn, I'm getting old. All right, I hear something like Toys R Us is closing down, and that shit has been around for my whole fucking life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hits me a little bit different, when it comes to a lot of these things, and yeah, I don't, I'm not under the sentimental premise to sit there and say that I'm sad to see it go. I'm actually surprised that it didn't happen sooner, with the way that the industry has been going.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just, wow, if you're gonna sit there and people talking about like death of celebrities and things like that, as far as marking to see how old you are, it's even more profound when you see companies, institutions like this, all right, that have been around, in this instance, for more than twice my lifetime. All right, just up and disappear like this. It's just, yeah, it's really shocking. All right, it's one of those things that just proves to me that, yeah, I'm an adult and I'm getting older and I ain't getting any younger.
It was just okay. Flooded with okay. I can pretty much guarantee that the toys that I've gotten that were licensed by Hasbro was gotten from this place. Most likely. I think I was lucky when I was lucky to get Omega Supreme. I think my mom got it from there. I really think that she could get it from there, because I don't think it would have been anywhere else at the time. Oh God, just like look, we mentioned video games, toys, just toys. G.I. Joes, Transformers, you get the He-Man action figures, you get the Thundercats, you'll get like all the Silverhawk figures. Certain places would be missing somebody. Will be missing something, like, damn it, why are there only 4 or 5 lions here? At Toys R Us, all of them will fucking be there. It will just be as simple as that. It was always a reliable place. Well, I can't say always, but it was a reliable place most of the time to get exactly what you wanted, unless they were just sold out of it. Because I remember when I was wanting Mike Tyson's Punch Out, they were sold out of that until like the following week, and I got Defender 2 instead. It was actually from Toys R Us. So within like 2 weeks, I got 2 Nintendo games because of that. Toys R Us, man, that's just it's a damn shame. But again, not surprised. Not surprised at all.
No. No. Man. Great, Mouse. Any last words to say on this one before we close out? I think we've all poured our hearts out as honestly as we could on this particular one.
Yeah, I guess Queen says it best. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to a point to where like there is no toy stores no more. I mean, is KB Toys still around?
No, they've been long gone.
That's
They've
what
been
I'm
long
saying.
gone for at least 2 decades.
That's what I'm saying. So, all these different toy stores that we grew up with that you drove by their place hundreds of times during your daily what do you call it? You're doing your daily routine. It's really sad to see the doors boarded and locked. But the question I got is what are they going to do with all those empty buildings now? Is Walmart going to move in, or is Amazon going to move in?
Or they'll expand. Some Toys R Us are right next to Walmart's.
Yeah.
So, because you were saying that there's like 700 plus, 800 plus stores in America.
800 stores in America alone. Yep.
So, and then actually there was
small. Yeah, these are not small places either.
No, they're big. They actually opened up a Toys R Us in Sasebo, believe it or not.
I remember there was one in Fukuoka, Japan that I used to frequently go to.
So yeah, they got one in Sasebo, and I went there last time I was there last year.
Damn.
But no, I mean it was slap full. It was slap full of people. I mean you couldn't get in there really hardly. Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering. I don't know what they're going to do with that store over in Japan.
One Circuit City still in existence, I think. I think there's Pioneer Chicken still in existence, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's a Miller's Outpost somewhere, but I don't know about this. It's just
we're spiraling out of control now.
No, we're not. Those are stores that went the way of the dodo as well. So it's just sad.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be people watching to this point. They're like, damn, I remember that store. I remember that store. Oh, fuck. Damn it. Middle-aged guys. Now I feel old, too. Shit.
Well, I mean, the Five and Dime, Woolsworth, those are stores that we caught the end of because of how old we are. Wow. Because, if you really start thinking about it, you're like, wow, these are companies that, like you said, these companies were big in the 50s and the 60s, and they fell by the wayside by the 90s.
In the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah. There was Woolsworth there. I mean, it's just it's they're called Five and a Dime, but I'm just saying I think all these stores closing is it's just the power of Amazon, man. It's unbeatable.
Well, I'm under the firm belief that that brick and mortar stores are going to continue to exist, but it's going to be to the fact that they fill a niche locally to the area. All right. There's going to be a certain service or a certain product that they provide locally to the area that unless you want to go completely out of your way to get or to obtain, they're going to be the first ones to go to. All right.
Well, I don't see Walmart going anywhere for a long time.
Well, generally speaking, but Walmart is another thing altogether. All right. But just like anything else, if the market changes enough and they don't change along with it, yeah, they're going to disappear too. May not be overnight.
Mm-mm.
It may take, let's see here. It may take 70, 80 years like it did with with Toys R Us. But you know, it's something that could possibly happen. You know, it's none of these institutions stand immortal in stone. All right, which is one of the things that we have to keep in mind. All right, but without getting too deep into it, or without waxing poetic any farther than what we might have already have. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wrap this particular one up, folks. Yeah, closing of Toys R Us, especially if you're a middle-aged guy or middle-aged person like yourselves. Um, that's, like I said, that's pretty much been a mainstay of childhood wants, okay, and aspirations for pretty much the whole of my life, and they're gone now. You know, what we would like to know is that if you're somebody who's our age, or if you're somebody who's younger or anything like that, thank you, by the way, for watching up until this point. If you have memories about Toys R Us, or if there's anything about them finally shuttering up and closing their doors that maybe tugs at your heartstrings, or makes you remember certain stories from your childhood or anything like that, we would like to know. You let us know by leaving us a comment below. While you're at it, if you think this video is worth it, go ahead and mash on that like button. If you don't think it's worth it, mash on dislike. I'm not going to blame you. And if you really like what we're doing here as middle-aged guys, as sparse as it is and everything else, and you want to stay abreast of any of the new videos that we put out, and you want to know whenever we go ahead and drop them, I do suggest that you go ahead and hit subscribe, hit those notifications up, go ahead and set those up so that you'll know whenever we go ahead and drop out any videos, whether it be on a somber note regarding the departure of a long institution like Toys R Us, or anything else that happens to fall within our geeky wheelhouse. All right. With all of that said, all of our bullshit about Toys R Us ends right here. Rest in peace, Jeffrey the Giraffe, and all of that. Yeah. That all that's going to end right here in this video. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse One.
I'm just going to go ahead and say it anyway. Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and gaming, because a lot of the gaming had a lot to do with this.
Yep.
Oh, man. Like, look, again, from bikes to trains to video games, it was the best Toy Story there was.
Gee whiz.
Credits.
Yeah.